Once the parents get the diagnosis that there is a vision impairment, it's really important that they seek help from agencies really early on. Depending on where you live in Australia, there's lots of different organisations and they really vary state to state. In most of the country, Vision Australia is involved with families as well as guide dogs. And then in states such as New South Wales, there's the Royal Institute for Deaf and Blind Children. In South Australia, there's Can Do for Kids. And in Western Australia, there's the Association for the Blind.
Early intervention is a fairly broad term that will encompass all areas of support for the child and the family. One of the key things that we're looking for all the time in children is where are they up to in their development? Are they where they should be? Have they fallen behind in particular areas? So early intervention will target those areas that they need support in.
Once parents get in contact with an early intervention service, often what will happen is they'll actually be given a home visit by a team that might include an orthoptist, an occupational therapist, and they will come and assess the child to see whether they are eligible for services. And this is often based on what level of vision does the child have.
The ophthalmologist that was there put us in contact with the Royal Institute of Deaf and Blind Children, and through there we had a caseworker assigned to us. Ivy has OT once a fortnight where we have a lovely occupational therapist come to the house and spend time with us, showing us things that we can do to help maximise her vision.
In the presence of a vision impairment, the child really has to be using their other senses to learn about their environment. So some things that parents can do is use a lot of verbal cues and really chatting to their child and explaining everything they're doing. So if you're lifting a baby out of the pram, just say that mummy's unbuckling you now, mummy's lifting you out of the pram, we're going to have a cuddle, and really commenting on what's coming next. I think that's what's really important about commenting.
Prior to diagnosis, little things would cause her to be heartbroken, and I would think, why on earth is she crying? The kids would come screaming past her and she would startle. The startle reflex was just amazing, and she would just cry and cry and cry. And looking back on that, you now understand that when you can't see someone coming, to all of a sudden have someone zoom past you with noise is very overwhelming. So both my children have had to learn to be much quieter.
The use of touch is really, really important. So children that have trouble seeing different textured things need to have a lot of touch. So on their hands, on their feet, and generally on their body, from spiky things, soft things, bumpy, all those different textures. Because they don't have the visual feedback to learn about what they are, it's really coming down to touch. Having a black background, or say very dark colour like navy blue, plain background, to have your baby's toys on a play mat is really important, that then it's very simple for the child to look at, and also not to have the area cluttered, so just one really good toy at a time.
We have a lot of toys that are now very brightly coloured, that light up, that make noise. I never ever looked at a toy before thinking, what is this going to give my child? It was always, looks pretty cool, they'll play with it, brilliant. Now we look at it and it's, what's Ivy going to get out of this toy? What's going to stimulate her vision the most?
One of the early decisions has to be made for a child is what level of vision impairment do they have, and are they going to be a Braille user, or are they going to be able to use assistive technology or low vision aids? If the decision is made they're going to be a Braille user, there's different preschool programs and pre-Braille skills that they'll be taught by early childhood teachers, particularly those that are trained in Braille.
I spoke to the people at the Royal Institute of the Deaf and Blind Children and said to them, well, she's probably going to need to learn Braille, and then I'm probably going to need to learn Braille as well, because I don't want her cheating on her homework and things like that. So that's how that started initially, I think. And then they were pretty much from the beginning. We had little books, you know, they have the little baby books and things like that, and they've got those with the Braille on them.
What we also need to remember is that approximately 60 to 70% of children with a vision impairment also have additional disabilities. So this can make early intervention quite challenging in many ways. So not only would the child be having help, say, from an orthoptist, they'd also be having help from an occupational therapist to help them with grasping objects, with their posture and trunk control, and also with a physiotherapist for movement, and definitely with a speech therapist as well, to help them along the way, because there are some characteristic problems that children with vision impairment can have with their speech if early intervention is not happening.
Simra also has, along the way, she's had speech therapy. She's also had speech therapy, not just for talking, but also for feeding and swallowing. She's also had physiotherapy she's 4 years old and she's still not walking on her own. She has a walker to assist her, and then the OT she gets from the RIDBC as well. So physiotherapy and speech therapy are the two main things that she's had.
With the OT coming fortnightly, they come through a school term. It's 4 1-hour sessions, which is more than enough time. A 12-month-old in a 1-hour setting is quite intense, but she enjoys it. It's a really friendly environment. We play a lot of games, we sing a lot of songs. Everything is very purposeful, but it's also lovely. It's a reassuring time. Once a fortnight I get to sit and listen to somebody tell me that she's improved from the previous fortnight.
Ultimately, children with vision impairment will reach developmental milestones. There's certainly, it's very positive, and that's what early intervention will provide those children with. They'll do it in a different way and they'll do it in their own time, but they certainly will get there. They will have trouble getting there if they're not having early intervention and support.
I'm very, very lucky to have a very supportive husband and a very supportive family. Now I don't even think about it. It's just life has returned to normal.